Hey Wargamers, MiniGamePainter here. We're going to do a quick review of the Tyranid Codex now that I've played a couple of games, so we can review what are the good units, what are the bad units, and where are some places for improvement. So, jumping right in because I want to try to squeeze it all into one video so you guys aren't hanging around all day. Flying Hive Tyrant with Devourers, still pretty solid choice unless you get grounded all the time like I do. Ballistic skill, I didn't notice this at first, but the ballistic skill went up to 4, so now you're doing rerolls on 3s. So the last game, if you noticed, I probably had 10 to 12 hits every time I shot them, which was huge for a strength 6 weapon. Swarm Lord, I haven't played with him yet, mainly because he seems very expensive for how slow and he's gonna get gunned down. One Eye, haven't gotten there yet. Still seems a little pricey for what he does, and the Synapse is what I'd be worrying about. The Turvagon, pretty much, it would be a very rare sight to actually see one on the board anymore, sad to say. Mainly because I didn't notice it until after my first review, is that their Mind Explosion thing is 12 inches. Their points have gone up dramatically. And the guys that come out can only shoot and they don't move, and it's kind of a bummer. So Tyranid Prime, I haven't used him yet, but I do see the value in him. I don't know why the points went up because he doesn't get anything crazy to equipped. But the good news is you can, even though he's marked as a infantry character, he's an independent character, so he can be in a mob of guys. That would be the #1 benefit, is for extra Synapse coverage, is to bury him in like a group of 30 Termagants or Hormagaunts or something. Death Leaper, I haven't used him. I'm actually buying a Lictor mod, or having a Lictor model come in, a metal one, so I'll actually play a couple games and see. So the Tyranid Warrior is not great, but it adds additional Synapse. So for 100 points, you can have 3 warriors, and I either equipped them with the Anti-Space Marine Blast or the Anti-Infantry Blast. Either the Barb Strangler or Venom Cannon. Both are 10 points, so it averages out to $100, or 100 points. So it's either Anti-Space Marine with AP 3, or Barb Strangler is 36-inch large blast pinning. So those are for heavy infantry armies, to just get those dice rolling. So Warrior's not too bad, considering. Overall, this is actually a very balanced codex. I know the Synapse is a little harsh, but with the fluff, they kind of force you to have extra Synapse, which you should have anyways. Before, you were kind of going with a slim to not that many Synapse creatures. This one, they're forcing you to do it, and they made a lot of their troop choice guys a lot cheaper in order for you to have more models on the thing. Overall, I think this is a pretty solid, balanced codex. Balanced. Now, if you're comparing this against an unbalanced, like a Tau or Eldar, you're obviously going to get your butt handed to you, which I'm still working on lists that might be able to combat those. But for now, we wish that we could have all these codexes as balanced as this. We got kind of a little too thirsty for every codex being able to beat all the codexes behind. This is a good balanced codex. Alright, so moving on. So, Warriors, Gene Stealers, they're usable mainly because they can infiltrate in assault and they don't have to have Synapse. The Broodlord with the -2 with the pinning can be helpful. I've only played one game with the Gene Stealers and it seemed to work out. They infiltrated right on an objective, and with all the target priority, no one really shot at them or got near them, except for one group, which the Gene Stealers assaulted them, completely demolished them, and then went back to the objective. So that was helpful. Termagants, cheaper, so take more of them, and you can kind of split up the weapons however you want, which can be nice. I haven't took advantage of that yet, but I could see the benefit. Hormagaunts, cheaper. No, same points. I see the benefit solely as a throwaway unit. I had 12 of them in my last battle report. I just hurled him towards him, and he saw that as a threat, and he had to shoot him, which kept everything else, saved a couple of rounds of shooting off of another target. Ripper Swarms continue to be useless. Hive Guard, even though they got more expensive and their ballistic skill went up, they're still a very good unit because you can hide them anywhere and they can shoot 24 inches and take out tanks. That was extremely useful in almost every single Tyranid game I've ever played, even in the new codexes. So that is just a hit. Nothing you can do about it. Lictor, same thing. I'm gonna get the model and prove that. I can see how with the pheromone trail, that's what it was, where you can deep strike in something right next to them and be good. Zoanthropes is auto include 3 of them. It gives you synapse, anti-tank, anti-troop, a very good unit. You have to have 3 of them. Yeah, so you have to have 3 Zoanthropes. Now the sad part about this codex is that it doesn't give you too many options. There are a lot of auto-include, like Hive Guard, Zoanthropes, and Venomthropes. I don't really see too much room unless you do double Force Surge for the other ones. Now a couple things about the Zoanthropes that I wanted to... that it kind of hit me in this last game that I played is that it says with the Warp Blast that the number of shots fired is equal to the number of Zoanthropes in that brood. So you do a psychic test once, it's successful. Then you check the range of the Warp Blast, and then you number it by how many they do their Deny the Witch, and then you get however many shots as their number of Zoanthropes in the brood. Does that mean that only one has to be in range and the other 2 could be around the corner? That's an interesting question. I'll continue looking that up. If you guys know that answer, comment below. But it sounds, how it reads is that you do 1 psychic test, they do Deny the Witch. If one of them is in range, you times that because it's a 1-shot Deny the Witch. Then you multiply that by however many Zoanthropes are in the brood, and then that's how many times it happens. So that's an interesting, if that's so, where 2 can be around the building and 1 can just stick out and shoot, then that would make Zoanthropes insanely better. Just like the Hive Guard, they don't have to have perfect line of sight for every one of their characters. Pyrovore, I was really hoping for it to have a Tyrant. 40 points are pretty cheap, but no delivery system. I doubt I see using those. And then the new model, the Herospect, I haven't used him yet, so I don't know. Seems pretty good. Kind of a bummer that it isn't a beast, kind of like the Mauler Fiend, but I can see the advantage in it. Fast attack, Shrikes. I could see them being useful. They're fast. Their armor save is 5 up, which is kind of a bummer. I wish it could have been. I would have paid an extra 10 points for them to have a 4-up armor save. Ravener, still the same. Probably wouldn't use him with a Red Terror. And then Sky Slasher Brood, which is Rippers, useless. Gargoyles, another one of those kind of mob units that will tie up and get objectives fast, as well as target priority, kind of like Ormagons. People get scared about them coming, they'll shoot at them first. Harpy haven't used. Hive Crone is, I haven't used that one. I haven't really used those flyers yet. I'll get around to it eventually. The one thing I do like is that they have Haywire, which is a really good anti-tank feature that I saw, as well as their Vector Strike is Strength 8, so that could be beneficial, except if you're playing a Skyfire or Interceptor army, and then you're pretty much SOL. So I like to plan for a non-flyer army. Plus, the Game Workshop where I play, only occasionally do you see like one flyer. It's very rare that you'll see like 2 or 3 flyers in an army. Next is Heavy Support. So Elite was in last edition was the elite was always filled up first. This one is the elite and heavy. Get filled up quite a bit. Carnifex, two Twin Link Devourers, 2 of them walking across the board is an insane amount of shots, and they stay alive. And for being 120 points apiece, and I believe it's 150 with the Twin Link Devourers, it's pretty much worth it. Wish we could have had a delivery system with a drop pod, but with a brood of them, if you had to, you put 3 of them in there, 1 regular, just bare bones, and the other 2 behind them with the Twin Link Devourers. All you gotta do is get there and it's over. And don't forget about the attacking with the tail. I keep forgetting about the stupid tail. Biovore. Definitely want to pick up some of these. Just for the volley of dice that you can create with 120 points. You have 3, it's either 0 or 3. There's no 1 or 2. All of them. You gotta go big or go home. For 120 points, you could hit a group of guys. You know, 5, 10, squad of 5 guys, you could hit 4 of them times 3 is 12. You could really do some damage on them. So that's a good one I'm going to have to look at. Trigon, I haven't tried the Trigon, the new thing. If I was going to do Trigon, it's going to be the Prime only. I don't see why I would spend the 40 points to make him a Synapse creature and deep strike him in, so that any other deep striking units would be fine. And he has a lot of shots. The only way I'm going to do is Trigon Prime. So, other than that, Moloch, one of those fantastic units. It's a hit or miss. My first game did a horrible job. Second game wiped out an entire squad of Chaos Space Marines and a Raider and a Rhino and blew it up. So that's probably worth it. For 100 points, that's pretty cheap for being able to take out a squad AP2. Or if they deep strike in, then they deep strike with, let's say, Terminators. You deep strike right where they deep struck, and you can wipe out the entire squad. That's huge. Exocrine, I borrowed my friend's model for this last battle report. 170 points, does a lot of damage. I'm probably going to have to pick up, this is probably going to be my #1 model that I'm going to be picking up pretty soon, is the Exocrine, maybe some Biovores and a Lictor just to experiment. Tyranifex, good to always have at least one of these guys in your army. If you're going up against a heavy tank army, I would go with the Rupture Cannon. Other than that, I would leave him exactly how he is. There's no reason to upgrade him. The Torrent Heavy Flamer, essentially, is a big deal. Stinger Salvo's just a nice little extra volley of extra attacks. But as you can see with my last couple battle reports, taking Strength 5, being able to take away any kind of cover saves is huge. So most of the armies out there, except for Space Marines, you're going to be able to just, I hit them, remove them, and that's it. So that's a big deal. Now, quick overview, Warlord traits kind of hit or miss. The psychic abilities, feel no pain to itself as well as another unit. That's the big one, #1. Increasing the synapse. Hey, if in doubt, go with that one. That helps a lot, especially with the new synapse. Horror, I would say keep that to your Broodlord only. I would rather have the additional synapse than a potential chance of pinning somebody. Onslaught, the hit and run shoot, that helps a lot. Especially if you have those Carnifex with Twin Link Devourers, or you have a Tyranifex where you can run, then shoot your Torrent Flamer. That's, so you, let's say you average a 4 run. So you move 6, run 4, then you shoot your Torrent 12. I mean, that's a crazy, crazy, crazy distance. So that one's pretty good. And then I haven't had #4, the Paroxysm, which is minus D3 weapon skill and ballistic skill yet. I could see how that'd be a benefit. And then the Psychic Scream, that could be beneficial, although you got to be really close to them. So I almost rather take the additional synapse. And then Warp Blast is always great. That lance weapon is killer, especially with the Zoanthropes. The Psychers that you're most likely going to have using those are your Hive Tyrant. So I would not do Warp Blast with Hive Tyrant because you're going to have your Twin Link Devours. So I would do your Synapse range, and if you could get obviously the Feel No Pain Catalyst, that would be great for him. So that's kind of a really quick overview. Instinctual behaviors suck, by the way. I've had that happen a couple times, especially that first game where I brought 3 Synapse creatures. You need to have at least 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say a minimum of 4 in order to be in the 1500 points. A minimum of 4. Because that first game of Dark Eldar, all he did was target each one of my Synapse creatures individually, and by turn 4 or 5, I was pretty much freaking out and going everywhere. So auto includes Zoanthropes, Hive Guard, Venom Thorps, at least 2, and probably Flying Hive Tyrants also include. So those are the 4 major auto includes that I would say for sure almost take every single time. Which is kind of sad because you don't get to have the variety of gameplay like you used to. Before, you could either start on the board or start coming from the sky, like all of their stories in here say, is that they come from the sky. So I hope they change that with maybe an update or one of those additional codexes. I forgot what they call them. That would be great. Overall, pretty balanced considering. They're extremely powerful, very cheap. Synapse kind of a bummer, but it's a balance. It's your job as the commander to have enough Synapse and enough bubble Synapse to where your guys don't freak out. So you're the one in charge of hiring management Synapse creatures in order to keep all your guys in line. So I can see where the balance is. You're going to just have sheer numbers, sheer shots. In some of the new models, I only like that one extra crin because I used it. Other than that, the flyers, I personally don't use a lot of flyers. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, leave a comment what you feel that may be an auto-clued, or if I overstated something, let me know. And happy wargaming.